everyone, I'm Kate Kennedy and I'm here with day 97 of 100 Days of Kane, PA. And it's Wednesday night, so you know what that means. It means it's history night here at the depot. And I have to say I'm a little bit sad because this is the last Wednesday night that we have together during the 100 Days of Kane, PA project. But I want to let you know that because it's been such a big hit with everyone and because I'm pretty crazy about Kane history, we are still going to share Kane history stories from time to time. So don't worry, although this is the end of the 100 Days series, we are still going to have history nights at the depot occasionally going forward. So tonight it was hard to decide what part of Kane history to share. So we decided to have a couple of the members of the Kane Historic Preservation Society take turns sharing a few short stories that haven't been shared yet during the 100 days. So we're going to take a walk through the depot so you can learn a little bit more one last time on history night here during 100 Days of Kane, PA. So I'm going to go ahead and flip you around and we'll start outside here with Mr. Marconi. Hello, okay. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I can't believe it's our last night. But we'll go ahead and start with you sharing the story that you haven't gotten a chance to share yet for a history night at the depot. So what's your story?
Okay, my story is of this cast iron Kane sign that we acquired about 20 years ago. It's a very neat sign and a good story about how we got it. Sloan Cornell, Sloan owned the Knox and Kane Railroad, the excursion railroad from Marionville to the bridge. Came to me one day and said, hey, I have this railroad sign, cast iron railroad sign, laying along the tracks in the woods that you guys could have at the depot if you wanted. So the next night, there was 6 of us from here, went up into the woods, found the sign, but it's heavy, it's a cast iron pole, cast iron sign, plus this big ball of concrete at the base. And we actually couldn't get it out of the woods. It was along the railroad tracks behind Ron Cook's Northern Pipe and Supply building at the intersection of 321 and 6. And I said to the guys, I said, Ron has a backhoe with a front end loader on it. I'll talk to Ron tomorrow, see if he can get it out of there for us. So I went down, talked to Ron, told him that Sloan gave us this cast iron sign and explained what it was. And Ron said to me, he said, well, that's really my sign. He said, the Northern Pipe and Supply building used to be a State Department garage or whatever, where they stored equipment and whatever. And he said that was left behind when the state moved out. And so I apologized and left. And the next day, I see a tractor coming up the driveway at Kane Lumber. It's Ron's yellow tractor, and he has this sign in the front bucket of it. And he come up and he said, here, he said, you guys want this sign down the depot, you could have it. So he dumped it onto my truck, and I brought it up here. That was about 20 years ago. We installed it, we painted it. Another quick interesting story. When we were putting the storm windows on here, I was up here one Sunday, I was by myself trying to keep ahead of the guys installing the storm windows. I was washing the old windows, I was in the back. It was a calm, quiet day, but all of a sudden, this sign split right in the middle along this crack, and in 2 pieces came bouncing down on the bricks. And it's cast iron, it's hard to weld, but I got Henry Money, who welded it, put brackets on the back, and made it as good as new.
I would have been so freaked out if that would have just fallen with no wind, just in the middle of a still day.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Well, it looks great, and it's here to greet anyone that wants to stop by the depot.
And what it was is not a railroad sign, it's a highway sign. It says Kane, named for General Thomas L. Kane, founded 1859. But if you look above the Kane, you could see at one time it said Johnsonburg, 15 miles.
Oh, jeez.
And that had been ground out of there, but you could still see it.
That's really interesting. There's a lot of history with the sign.
Right.
Awesome. Well, hey.
And even the year.
There we go.
Yeah. The official Kane was founded 1864. That was the year the railroad connected. but Thomas was up here in the late 1850s, and so there's a little bit of gray area.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. That was very interesting, and we appreciated all the stories that you shared with us during the 100 days.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go ahead and go on inside and hear our next story from Wendy Oakes. Hello, Wendy.
Well, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, thanks so much for having us.
No problem.
What is the story you are planning on sharing tonight?
Well, I'm standing in front of the Kane display. You know, this is my favorite spot.
Yes, we know this spot well. We, I think, learned about most of these items in here during the 100 days.
But there's one thing we didn't talk about, and this is a little mystery box. This is our mystery. So this is a little cartridge box that held bullets. And we got this from Sybil Kane's estate when we were getting items from there. Sybil Kane was General Kane's granddaughter. So we found this little box and we opened it up. And what did we find?
What did you find?
We found this little card.
Hey.
Okay? In the card was written, June 1880, my good luck. Okay? And in the bottom of the box are 2 bullets. 2 misfired bullets. That means somebody tried to shoot these and they misfired and they didn't work. On the back of the card, and we realized quite quickly that this is General Kane's handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
So
you know from like his journals and
yes,
things like that.
we've seen his handwriting. This is his handwriting. So that he wrote that. This is what he wrote on the back. He wrote, "These are the 2 cartridges that saved me from the hangman's rope. They misfired, and by doing so saved a man's life, and mine also." So in other words, our General Kane tried to shoot somebody, and the bullets misfired, and he basically didn't go to get hung for killing someone, and the guy's life was saved. But we don't know anything about it. This is it. This is all we know. So there's a mystery about who did he try to shoot? What was he mad about? What was he trying to do?
So we have to fill in the blanks ourselves,
We do. We have to guess.
That is a really interesting story that just kind of opens the door to wanting to know more of the story.
Exactly. That's the whole point of this history here, wanting to know more. When I first started learning about the Kane family, it was so fascinating to me that I wanted to learn more. And that's what I've done since I've been here, study the Kane family.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I hope we find the answer to that story someday. And Wendy, thank you so much for all of the stories that you shared over the last 100 days.
Now you get to go see Denny.
Yes, we'll keep walking through here into the next room to hear the final story for the night. We're going to talk to Mr. Driscoll. Hey, Mr. Driscoll.
Hi, good evening, Kate.
How are you?
Glad to see you.
Glad to see you too. So tonight we're just kind of talking about a few of the stories we didn't get a chance to share during 100 days. What is the story that you have to tell tonight?
Well, I'm sort of standing in one of my favorite rooms in one of my favorite buildings. The Pennsylvania Railroad Station we're in tonight and the chapel are probably the most historic buildings, the most important of the historic buildings in the community, because they are the only 2 buildings that we can guarantee that Thomas and Elizabeth were in together.
That's interesting.
And this room was so important that when the Educational Channel from Penn State did the program on the history of Kane, they used this as their studio. And they came in and they said, is there a particular favorite spot that you have in this building? And I was reminded of a work of T.S. Eliot. It was known as Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno defined for me heaven. And that seems odd, but in defining hell, which he defined as being a place where nothing connects with nothing, using a double negative, that meant he told us what heaven was. It was a place where everything was connected with everything. And so I started to look around at the floor, the same floor that Thomas and Elizabeth walked on. It has nail holes from a wall. A lot of the kids come in and they say, hey, well, why did all these buildings burn down? And we could point to the ash burns on the floor, wherever the ashes would come out of the cool stove. And then I would go over to my real favorite spot. And whenever we did this floor, we wanted to make sure that we didn't get the history out of it. They said, well, you can't refinish this floor. We can't get these defects out of it. They're not defects. They're indicators of heaven. And because if you come over to the ticket window, over 150 years, everyone that came into this building in one way or another, they had a dream, they had a great spot to go, they were coming home for Christmas, they were going away for New Year's, they might have been going off for war. All the events weren't joyful, but they were all impacts, major impacts in people's lives. And they came to this window, and if we kneel down or if you rub your foot across the floor and close your eyes, you can feel the impression from all those people. And not only that, when you do that, you create your own impression and you become part of it. And so the interesting thing is when you say that to a group of young people that come in, you really understand that they get it when they say to you, hey, can I do that? And so for that reason, my spot in heaven is at this door, at this sliding, this opening door for the ticket window, and on the floor.
That's such a great way to end this Wednesday night history night, is to be reminded how connected we all are to each other and to our history here. And this is the spot where that can happen.
And it goes on long after the people have left the earth. Their impression stays with us. Their impact stays with us. And especially this year is a year of anniversaries, because really the whole thing started 2 centuries ago, because in 1819, Thomas Kane's parents were married. And so this is their anniversary year. Next year will be the Historic Preservation Society's 25th anniversary. It'll also be Elisha Kent Kane's 200th birthday. 2 years after that will be Thomas Kane's birthday. So we've got a lot of important 200-year celebrations coming along.
A lot of celebrating to do.
We do. So get your dancing shoes on and your walking shoes and come on over and leave your footprints at the ticket window door.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. And thank you for sharing all the stories that you shared over the 100 days. They've been really interesting, and we just appreciate you keeping the history alive.
Well, thank you. And most importantly, thank you for saving everything.
Well, thank you again, and thank you guys so much for watching. I still can't believe it's the last night of History Night for 100 days. We know that you guys really loved History Night, so as I mentioned in the beginning, we are still going to continue occasionally sharing stories of Kane's... My God! That's the official, we're done with History Night. And we like to have fun. So, hey, any Wednesday night you're around and you want to come see everybody, say hello, and learn a little bit more, please stop by the depot. And again, we'll be seeing you again sometime soon to share more of Kane's history stories. And just one more time, thank you to the Kane Historic Preservation Society for the time that you guys spend learning more about Kane's history and doing such a great job at sharing it so people can care and continue to bring the history forward and keep it alive. So thanks again for tuning in tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow for day 98.